Hey everyone, and thanks for joining me for day 65 of learning piano with Yousician. I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. I hope you got everything that you wished for, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. Before I start this week, I just want to let you know, for those of you who aren't already aware, who aren't following the other videos on my channel, I am leaving for a year-long trip in Europe shortly. So in about 3 weeks, it's going to be a lot more difficult for me to practice piano every day. I'm going to make every effort to figure out how to practice piano while I'm traveling. I looked into travel pianos. Nothing really got great reviews or I thought would work very well, but I'm going to see what I can do once I get over to Europe to see if I can find places where I can play. You may have seen some of my videos here in the US. I was able to practice some at Guitar Center, which sells pianos. And I'm hoping that I can find places where there are pianos where I can play. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. And if you have suggestions, please let me know, comment below. This week I am going to give Fauré's Elegie one more try. I practiced it a bunch more this week. It's only day 65 because I only got to practice about 4 out of the last 7 days, which is pretty lax for me, but being the holiday season, I didn't get a lot of time. But I did try this piece a bunch more, so I think I'm playing it pretty well now. So this will be the last time I give that piece a try. And then I started a little bit of an attempt at the Dance of the Sugarplum Fairy. And these are both still level 7 songs in Yousician. So what I thought I would do is after I give Fauré's Elegie one more try, I'd walk you through how I go about learning a new song, because it takes a while. So this may be a little bit slower of a session, less songs to play. Here we go, and I hope you enjoy. If you're able to stick around, even though I'll be traveling around trying to find pianos to play, I will be continuing to try to improve while I travel. All right, that was definitely one of my best playthroughs for that song ever. It's still a little frustrating because I have played that middle section so many times and gotten it right, and then when I try to play it through with the whole song, there's always a little bit that I mess up. But I'm really proud of it. I think it was one of the most difficult songs that I've tried to play so far, and I'm happy with the way it has come along. Another really cool thing that I want to point out about practicing piano so frequently is that I practiced Clementi's Arietta so many times when I was trying to learn it. It's the first level 7 song that I learned on Yousician. And I practiced it so many times that I now know most of it by muscle memory. So I can just
I can go on, and sometimes I mess up some of it, but it's getting to the point where I basically have that song memorized. And it's just from practicing it over and over and over again, which is great because if I ever sit down at a random piano, I could just sort of play a little ditty. But my point there is that things do start to come along naturally just from practicing a lot. Next, I want to show you, I've been sort of working on this dance of the Sugarplum Fairy. The biggest challenge with this one is that it just moves pretty fast. So I am currently only practicing it at about 60%. And the left hand, the bass line, is pretty straightforward. So all the complexity for the most part is in the right hand. So I've been turning off the left hand so I don't have to think about it. And I've just been focusing on the right hand. The nice thing about this song, though, is that your hands don't move all that much during it, which is good. Starts up very slow when you put it this low, but it gets faster. And you gotta find G. Then you gotta remember all the F's are flat. And then ring finger on E. Oops. You get the idea. I won't torture you anymore with listening to me missing all of these keys. One thing about this song that I forgot when I first started playing, but when I realized after trying a few times, is that it has a sharp in it. And pretty much every song I've tried so far doesn't have any key signatures. It's just been C in the key of C major, so there's no sharps or flats at the beginning. And so any sharps or flats in the song are denoted with the sharp or flat symbol. In this song, all the F's are sharp. And you just know that because there's a sharp at the beginning in the key signature. And that's throwing me off a little bit. So I'm working on that. Otherwise, it's just going to be about, this is going to be one of the ones I focus on this week. It's kind of a Christmas song, and we're a little bit past Christmas, but I like the tune. It's enjoyable. So I will continue to work on this one, so hopefully I can play it for you a little bit next week, and it won't be quite so terrible. For those of you who are also trying to learn with Yousician or a similar app, I did want to show you, because I get questions about this, some of the other things that I do on here. So yes, there's songs, and now that I'm up at level 7, most of what I do is songs, but that's not what I originally did when I started learning. I used the Learn tools here, and I know I'm not zoomed in on here, but I actually used this whole lesson track plan, and I went all the way up through level 7, and now is where I've kind of slowed down to focus on just having fun trying to play the songs, because I think it is fun that way. The workouts, though, I also like to use the workouts. So for example, learning your major scales, it takes you through them. And I just, whenever, especially because I'm using the free version of Yousician, whenever an ad comes on, it's usually either, I think, 20 or 30 seconds long. And I will just sit there and work on my scales while the ad plays. Oops. And because Yousician does teach you other types of scales, so you can play, this is the G scale, which just has one sharp in it. And, you know, you can learn, they actually have all the different scales in here, so you can learn those, and you can learn chords. And that's kind of fun. And a lot of the pop songs use chords. I play mostly the classical music because I enjoy that the most, but there are some fun pop songs in there that I was working on at some point a while ago. And I'll try to mix things up and do a little bit more of those as well. But there's just a lot you can do with the app while you're playing around. And when you run out of time on the app, if you don't want to continue using it because it's not giving you feedback, then I just like to practice my scales. Because the big thing with scales, and I know I'm not a teacher, but from what I understand, a big thing with scales is being able to control your fingers and play them evenly, not, you have to play them in a uniform way. And if you could do that at any speed, whoops. And not have, you know, pauses and things in them, then you're doing pretty well. So I continue to practice scales all the time. So that's how things are going for day 65 with Yousician. Thank you again for sticking around, and please subscribe. I will continue to try to play throughout the whole next year while I'm away. And so you can follow my adventures of trying to learn piano and trying to find pianos to play on. Please stay tuned.